Hello and welcome back to the stars, everybody. Welcome back to Starfield. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Magpulse Rifle. I don't know if I should call this a battle rifle or an assault rifle or just some sort of space gun. This weapon is one of the later guns that you're going to be getting in Starfield. So the Magpulse for base damage has 71 base damage, which is really high. That is one of the higher base damages out of any weapon in the game. This shoots the 6.5mm AI array. This is not the same as the 6.5 that the Kraken or that the Maelstrom shoots. This is its own round. It's only this weapon and the Mag Sniper, I believe, that fire this round, which makes it so this doesn't really have much competition, if any competition, for the role that it's actually going for. This holds 20 rounds in it by default, which is pretty cool. That's a decent amount for a battle rifle or whatever the heck this would be considered. It's more than enough rounds. This has a 17 rate of fire, so it has a fairly slow rate of fire, but that honestly isn't that bad for the way that this weapon functions, where this weapon kind of functions like a long-range shotgun, where you just kind of have to be roughly in the target zone, so just switching from target to target and having a slow rate of fire isn't that big of a deal. This one has 40 meters of effective range, like most of the rifles. That's pretty good. This one has good accuracy, although it says it has fairly low accuracy in terms of stats. Again, this is kind of like shotgun level accuracy, where you just need to get close enough, or you just need to have something within your shot spread, and you're going to hit it. So accuracy is much higher than it actually shows in terms of practical accuracy. And this one weighs 3.7, so it is one of the heftier rifles in the game. It is pretty heavy. Not the heaviest, but one of the heavier rifles in the game. The general pros of this weapon is that it's got really high damage per shot. That is really nice. It's also very easy to use. You don't need to aim that much with it. It's fairly forgiving, and it has really high damage per second, which is great. Now, for the general cons of this weapon, this is kind of a rare gun. It's not one of the most rare guns. You can find mag pulses all throughout the game. You're probably going to get this towards the mid game and definitely towards the late game, but it's not one of the more common weapons, so you're less likely to get like rare versions of this or epic versions or legendary versions. Ammo can also be potentially an issue when you're first getting this weapon. It's probably not going to be later on though, because the ammo does become much easier to find later on. And it also has a slow rate of fire, which, like I said, isn't a huge deal because you don't really need a high practical rate of fire with this when each shot does so much damage. So the cons are kind of minor with this weapon, but there are still a couple that I would like to include with this. On my rifle tier list, I put the Magpulse up into S tier, and I would keep it in S tier. Just the regular Magpulse is surprisingly good. It does good damage, it does good rate of fire, it's perfect for using in like a battle rifle situation where you want it to be kind of longish range, but still work very well at close range, and it works really well in both of those situations. It's also fantastic in like a sniper build. It's very easy to use. Once you start going and ammo starts becoming more common with this, it's just a really nice go-to weapon. So like the Magpulse is very, very strong overall. So let's talk about a modded version of this weapon and where I'd put that on the tier list. So first up we have a barrel, and there is two barrels that you can put on this, either a long barrel or a stabilizing barrel. I went with a long barrel. The long barrel gives you better accuracy, better recoil control, and longer range, but slower ADS time, which doesn't really matter. Hip firing this weapon is actually really good. ADSing with this is, I kind of like hip firing, sort of. I mean, you get more center on the gun, but you're just lining up a square to hit something, so you don't really need to ADS with this weapon if you don't want to. Stabilizing barrel can be good too if you want to have that. Makes so you have less recoil, but it still makes it so you ADS a little bit slower. Pick whichever one of these you'd like. They're both pretty good. I went with the long barrel on mine. Then for a laser, you either have no laser or a recon laser. Throw the recon laser on here because it's just a straight buff to the weapon, assuming you can. If not, it's not a huge deal. Then for a muzzle, you either have the muzzle brake or the compensator. There is no like suppressor for this weapon, which I guess makes sense. On mine, I decided to go with the muzzle brake on this, but compensator's good too. Pick whichever one of these you would like. They're both pretty decent. Totally your call. Then for a magazine and battery, honestly all of them are pretty decent here. You either have the tactical magazine for a faster reload, which is kind of cool, armor piercing rounds to get more consistent damage on enemies and break through armor a little bit easier, or you have the depleted uranium rounds, which is the one that I took. And this one gets you the most amount of damage, the longest amount of range, and the most amount of armor piercing that you can out of any of them. I would say that this one is the best option of the three, but the other two are not bad options either. And if you don't have high levels into upgrading your weapons, it doesn't really matter. So long as you can get any of these, they are just a straight upgrade over the standard magazine, so that's pretty cool. None of these actually change the amount of rounds that you get either. You're always stuck with the 20 rounds, assuming you don't get like a legendary effect to give you more rounds with this weapon. And then we have an internal, which you actually have 4 options with this, which is pretty cool. 3 of them are the same that we usually have. So this would be hair trigger for a faster rate of fire, high velocity for longer range, high powered for more damage, or the shock charge band. This makes so you can do electricity damage on every shot. And this one's really cool. I really like the shock charge band. However, you're going to need the most amount of levels into research in order to get this, because you need to have the muzzle mods level 3, I believe. Hair trigger would be my second option here, because the rate of fire increase is really nice for a weapon like this that has a low rate of fire. If you want the most amount of damage, high powered is a good option though too. And if you want even longer range with this, then high velocity can work really well. This weapon works really, really well at like close to medium range, and even out to longer ranges it can do pretty well. It's not my favorite for like real long range shots. If you want to snipe, I think there's better options than the Magpulse, but up close and personal, this one is really good. And I would move this one from our S tier up to our S plus tier. It is really, really strong. It's probably one of the best weapons in the game, just overall at everything. It does its job really well. You can use this at almost any range against basically any enemy, and it will perform very well. The only, I guess, kind of downside of this weapon is that there is no unique versions of this that you can just go out and buy. So if you want a unique version, you're going to have to farm for it. Or you can potentially check shops on like New Games Plus. Sometimes they'll have unique Magpulses in there that you could steal and then sell back and buy back to the merchants or to Trade Authority or something like that, and use it that way. That could be another option. So just like in all these videos, should you use the Magpulse? I would say absolutely. Unless you're not using rifles, or you're just kind of low level and you can't get a Magpulse yet, or you're out of ammo with a Magpulse, Magpulse is really good. It's a really nice weapon to have on you, and it's really cool if you can find like some legendary versions of this. I really enjoy it. Tell me your thoughts on the Magpulse down in the comments below. Where would you put it on the tier list, and how do you enjoy building it? How do you also enjoy the weapon overall? Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everyone!